Well, the first thing any good chef needs is a really good kitchen, because you can't work in tight quarters, which we have, but we need comfort, convenience, and we need something that's really nice. Now, we had our kitchen remodeled back in July and August of 2011 by Mark Anderson of Persona. This kitchen, being smaller in an old Victorian home, had a lot of challenges. So Mark was a magician, an artist, a craftsman, and a headache sufferer some of the time. But we got it all done. Some of the things that did get done were new cabinetry, countertops of granite quartz, which the harder surface is a lot easier to maintain and a lot better to deal with. We got a new sink, it's referred to as a farmhouse sink. Just hangs over the top. Beautiful faucet. And of course, for any chef, you want to make sure you have these kinds of arms so you can do that when you're handling chicken. The floor is made from reclaimed pine from a distillery in Kentucky. So it's a kind of a recycled type aspect. You can see the subway tiles. This was inspired by the movie Moonstruck, which we love that movie because everything happens in the kitchen for the most part. And it reminds us of the old style of kitchens that we both grew up in and saw in, like where I grew up in Boston. So this is a fantastic kitchen. The centerpiece for my cooking pleasure is my new dual fuel range. Gas cooktop, electric oven. This is a Wolf range made in the United States. And it is absolutely amazing because after we got the remodel done, I usually do a lot of grilling in the wintertime. I won't be afraid to grill in the wintertime. But we got it done in August, and strangely enough, I didn't do hardly any grilling during the winter, even though we had a mild winter. Why? Because when you got the new baby, you want to play with it. So tonight, we're going to be making one of our favorite dishes, chicken piccata.
Well, you've got quite a lineup here, HB. What is all this?
Well, this is some of the basics for our chicken piccata. There's sauce, and this is the most important thing. Oh, we're missing one jar. Here we go.
Can't have that.
The piccata sauce itself is made from lemon juice, white wine, and capers. Capers are the flower bud of a bush that is common in the Mediterranean and some parts of Asia. What's done is they pluck the bud, it's sun-dried, and then it's pickled in a vinegar brine. Now this has a pungent taste to it. It's used for sure in this particular dish. I've seen it used in salads and other dishes. I even make a green dipping sauce for a grilled steak that involves parsley, capers, anchovies, olive oil, and red wine vinegar. So I don't know a lot of aspects of it, but that's it. They're a little heavy. They'll sink to the bottom.
Those are the
capers.
Capers.
Right.
Is that just water?
No, that's made of the lemon juice and the white wine.
Okay.
We'll have, I'm sure, a complete recipe on Keyhole Conversations for those that get appeal to it. Now this, of course, is the topper, which of course is freshly chopped parsley. From my wife's beautiful galvanized bucket right outside. So it's always good to have it as fresh as possible.
Yeah.
What we're going to wind up doing is dredging the chicken breasts in flour that's got salt and pepper in it. And we're going to be pan frying it in butter and olive oil. Some people use just butter, some people use just olive oil. I say why not have the best of both worlds?
Yeah.
Then we will be serving it up with white rice, which is in the back over there.
Excellent.
You ready to get started?
Ready.
First step we're going to do is get the chicken started.
Oh, look at that.
Our 4 chicken breasts.
And
now,
thin.
That's the important thing. I happen to get 4 that were already thin. However, if you happen to get them thicker for some reason, you can always pound them out. I find the cooking chicken when it's thinner, which they call scallopine, to be better because it cooks it more evenly. If you have one thick one and one thin one, somebody's getting overdone and somebody's getting underdone. What we're going to do is wind up dredging this in the flour and then putting it in the pan to get nice and golden brown. For starters, we'll just get the heat going on the skillet. very low. And this is where cooking with gas is wonderful, Bonnie, because you can regulate and you can control your heat. All right, here we have just flour with salt and pepper. And dredging is just dragging the chicken breast through, getting a light coating. So that way when you wind up cooking it...
So come on, let's do it.
Well, I'll be over here.
Oh, you want to do it over here?
Yeah, because we're going to put it into the pan.
Oh, you can see I'm not a cook.
We'll turn her into one eventually, though.
I'm a domestically impaired cook, I'm telling you.
Domestically impaired.
That's
all you
very
do
bad.
for dredging. You're just lightly coating it. And I try to do this in as coordinated a fashion as possible. Also, too, as with every kind of cooking that I'm aware of, the old expression is low and slow. Whether you're grilling, whether you're roasting, every day in this world, people are in a rush because their lives are busy, which I appreciate, and they don't have time to do things the right way, so things don't come out as tasty as possible. It's going to be a while. That chicken's going to cook until it's nice and golden brown. When the rice gets done, we're going to show you how we're going to finish off the chicken piccata. And again, as you can see, the most important thing is we're cooking it slowly so we get a nice golden brown and cook the rice.
Yes, I like to eat.
Doesn't that look beautiful?
It does. At least excellent. The pan is fantastic.
The pan, that's the other thing too. We talk about tools as writers, our experience, our knowledge, our research. Well, there's also tools as cooks. We need to have the proper cooking appliances, pots, pans.
So
I'm a big
that,
fan of these. These silicone spatulas, they're my new best friend, especially with nonstick cookware.
Right.
Let's see how the rice is doing.
Oh, perfect. It's dry and fluffy. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Which means at this point we can now turn off the heat, keep that totally covered, and maybe even go back to our conversation for a while. What do you think?
Okay. I wanted to know how you get that rice light and fluffy, because I've tried making good rice, and if I don't use that 5-minute stuff...
Well, yeah, but even if you use the 5-minute stuff, make sure you don't go 5.5 minutes. You might spoil that. The thing to cooking rice is it's 2 parts water to 1 part rice. So basically, tonight, because of the 4 of us, it's 1 cup of rice, dry, 2 cups of water, cold. People say to put in salt. What I like to put in is some chicken bouillon for that little extra flavor.
Okay.
You bring the rice to a complete boil, and then you basically almost turn up the heat until it's a very low simmer. Now, on an electric,
that's what I have.
That's a little tougher because you don't have as much control, but you have to get it as low as possible. On electric, I found that I was getting it perfect, but it was taking longer. On the gas, I have complete control. So, good fluffy rice that's cooked properly is very, very important. Not as important as a chicken, mind you, but we're getting there.
That's half the meal, though.
Amen.
A perfect rice.
Oh yeah, don't forget the Chardonnay that goes with it too.
What's that?
The Chardonnay.
The Chardonnay?
Yes.
What does that mean?
That's a wine.
Ooh, wine.
Yes.
Oh, I was just fighting you out.
I get so many women here that just want to give me a hard time. Now, the other thing too is the finishing process for this involves 2 things that people think is gourmet. We're going to deglaze and reduce. You know what that is, Bonnie? After we take the chicken out, we're going to pour in the piccata sauce.
Yeah.
And we're going to scrape up the brown bits. That's deglazing. Then we're going to turn up the heat.
What brown bits?
The brown bits from the chicken. You always have brown bits left over.
Okay.
Little scrapey little bits.
I thought you might be talking about...
No, there's no, not those things. No. And then we're going to turn up the heat a little bit and boil up some of that sauce, and that's called reducing. So you'll hear it on cooking shows where they're going to talk about deglaze and reduce, and all it is scraping up the brown bits and boiling off some of it. This is something that anybody can do. So let's finish this off, okay?
I'm not too sure I could.
Oh, yes, you could. Okay, first of all, our chicken is done, and it is very nicely browned up.
Yeah.
And we really don't have to worry about anybody's cholesterol because you'll all take your medication before you have dinner, right?
Well, I don't worry about my cholesterol.
Very
my
good.
My doctor does.
Oh. Okay.
As long as he's worrying about it, there's no need for both of us to worry. Yes, sir.
Now, we pour that in slowly because, of course, but we've already reduced the heat first. Okay, there's our sauce. When
you have all that old chicken broth in with that buttery stuff, it's
right?
going to make it really fantastic.
So when we turn up the heat a little bit with this liquid, we're going to get all this scraped up. That's called deglazing.
Deglazing.
And what it does is, like you just said, the bits, which are the brown portion of the chicken, with the butter, with the olive oil, and now with this piccata sauce. Piccata sauce has got, once again, lemon juice, white wine, and those lovely little capers. Okay, we've deglazed. Now this is the reduced part. Once that gets up to a boil, it'll kind of all blend together. What we'll do after that is put the chicken back in, turn it over, and then turn it off, and we'll be ready to serve it. We'll sprinkle on the parsley, the freshly chopped parsley, as the garnish and flavoring at the very end. Now, a lot of times, recipes like this, when they talk about reducing, will have you boil it down to where it's 1/2 of its original amount. I don't necessarily like that, especially when I've got something like this where we're going to be serving it over rice. I like to have it so that some of the sauce mingles in with the rice to give that additional flavor. And as it stands right now, we put the chicken, which has been dredged in the flour, back into the sauce. That basically means that at some point, that sauce is going to thicken up on its own accord. At this point, we're just going to cover that up and shut off the heat, and then we'll be serving. Really, the best part, Bonnie, of serving up a good dinner is plating it up. Now, I know a lot of people like family style. We put everything on the table and just take from it, but plating it up is the last act of creativity. Now, some people will actually use an ice cream scoop and scoop out rice and make it a nice little clump there. I don't have an ice cream scoop like that, so I'm just going to put it all here in the middle.
That is beautiful rice.
Thank you.
It's so nice and dry.
Now, I just want to let anybody know that's watching this, they're not invited over, okay? I don't know you. If you'd like to meet me, that's fine. We'll get in touch. But for right now, you're not invited over. But you can
have the video. They can
have the video, and they can invite their own family over to enjoy a wonderful dish, right?
Yeah. Look at that. That is beautiful. And when that sauce goes over.
Oh yes, dear. And then after that, the beautiful garnish of parsley.
Oh my gosh, this is amazing.
But as I pointed out, please keep in mind,
it doesn't look that hard when you're looking at it like that, you know, but I probably could never get it like you get it. Oh, I'm telling you, that is so beautiful, browned.
And there's some basic elements of cooking that are involved with this that everybody can just get used to. Dredging chicken with flour.
And really just didn't take all that long,
No,
did
not
it?
at all. Not at all.
It didn't seem like it, but maybe it's because it was so interesting we were having all this conversation. Be interesting. This will be my first time for capers, HP.
We will find out whether or not this is a keeper or a caper. Well, I write and I cook. My wife can attest to the fact that I don't do humor that well or that often. Oh no, I do it too often. I just don't do it that well.
You paint.
Right.
And wonder what else. There's got to be a whole bunch of secrets left in you somewhere that we got to pull out. Oh, look at that.
If you and Hazel care to interrogate my wife, she might tell you more secrets. Now, I'm not going to do the emerald band, but it is always nice to just sprinkle it from above and let it fall as it would. Here, ladies and gentlemen, is chicken piccata served for myself, Sheila, Hazel, and Bonnie.
Yes, you are. Okay, well, I'm going to try this. We'll see. We'll see. I really like these little round things, capers.
They are a little pungent. They do have a bite to them.
They're perfect.
And There's a fine balance between the pungency
Mm.
of the capers, the tartness of the lemon juice, and the smoothness and the sweetness of the white wine that's in there as well too.
That's really great, HB.
Thank you.
This is my first time for capers, too.
So in that
First on
case,
everything.
capers are a keeper.